Hello, and welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence, and I'm here with...
Nate Payne.
And...
Campbell Florence.
And we just saw Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City! Okay, and we haven't done one of these in a long time because we haven't been in the theater in a long time, but we're going to record during the closing credits music, and I love it. Nate, give us your thoughts.
Okay, I have a lot to say about this. I just have to say, first of all, that this movie reminds me of the time between when Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 came out. There was the stretch of time where there was a lot of spin-offs to this property in comics and novelizations and stuff like that, and this gave me the exact same sort of nostalgia for that time period.
I agree. I would say, I just kept having nostalgia for exactly around this era that the movie is set, 1998, and playing Resident Evil and just, being in it, in those couple of years. And you mentioned the soundtrack, and not only the score, but just the soundtrack itself, the songs.
Even this font that we're looking at is, the font they use in movies. I believe he used it in, The Thing. It's this movie feels like Carpenter, which, I mean, not as good, but but it has that same sort of low budget B movie, but still, horror-y atmosphere.
Yes. Now, Campbell, you're coming from it without the nostalgia factor that we have, having played the original games. What are your thoughts coming from this fresh perspective?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It had an interesting plot. Yeah, good characters. I really liked it.
Any scenes that stood out to you?
Let's see. Probably the scenes with I guess near the beginning of the movie with the truck driver when it crashed.
When Leon was asleep listening to what was he listening to?
I can't remember now which song it was.
Crush.
Oh.
And the zombie, the truck crashes and the zombie comes in on fire.
That was so epic.
And I love that he didn't notice until the gunshot went off. But you'd think you would notice an exploding semi, but Leon was tired.
Oh, I love it. I love how they perfectly captured, just quickly the characters summed up just in a few lines of dialogue or by their actions, and then followed through. And wow, the zombie stuff, what are they? Are they not technically zombies? What are they in this universe?
Okay, so that was the thing that I loved. The zombies in this were the same way they were in the novelization, which is that they're human beings who are diseased, and in the games and in the previous movies, the T-virus turns you into a zombie, you die, you come back or whatever. In this and in the novels, they're humans, and they can tell they're getting sicker, and they feel themselves becoming zombies, and that gives it this really creepy thing. When they were all at the gate trying to get in, and they're like, "Let us in," as they're slowly rotting. Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought that's even more disgusting to me than, maybe a quote unquote typical zombie thing, because if you can see the change happening and you can feel it and that's scarier.
Well, and that's touched on in the games in that, when you find all the files, you find the keeper's diary on his bed or whatever, and you can read it, and you read the first entry, I'm playing chess with this dude, and then, he has been feeling kind of sick and he scratched himself and it looked like meat, and as the pages go, it gets crazier and crazier until the last page just says itchy tasty, which is what she wrote on the window.
God, that's so gross. Yeah, I loved it. I loved all the little Easter eggs, so to speak, of like you said, from novelizations to the games to just the history and these characters, and it felt like the game to me.
The little pad thing that Wesker gets, that's straight out of the novel, the first novel. There's a spy that gives it to Jill. She gets a PDA that has all the information about the mansion and a map, and it tells her how to do some of the puzzles and stuff. So that was really neat to see. some of those novels come back, because I over the last few weeks have read the first 2 novels leading up to this. Not really expecting anything, but the plot is totally different. They adapted obviously the first 2 games into one. But like the atmosphere and the feeling, I feel like was completely nailed for me. I could see how it would be really divisive to some fans, like the people who came in later or have been really hardcore about all of the games in the series, where for me especially, like being a mega fan mostly of the first 2 games, like this, I feel like this movie was made for me specifically, and I really hope they release a director's cut that's longer.
Maybe we're in a fever dream with you, Nate.
The one thing I'll say, like because it's 2 games worth of plot, like pushed into one movie, did it break 2 hours? I don't think it was even over 2 hours. They could have given some of these characters a little more room to breathe, but that's a video game movie problem that they always have.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we're gonna cut this short in order to let them clean the theater for the next showing. But let's rank it on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you hated it, 10 being it's a perfect movie. What is our scale?
The giant fan of Resident Evil in me gives it a 10. I freaking loved it. The regular human who just watches movies would give it like a 7.
Okay. All right. You know what? That's fair. And our scale is going to be the bird as it's changing. Yeah. And so you gave it 10 of those birds. Campbell?
I think I give it either an 8 or 9.
Nice. And I'm going to give it, like you said, a 7. I think I enjoyed the heck out of it. But, you know, I'm not the super fan that you are, although I loved and I still love the games. And now, Campbell, we're going to go home and you're going to play the first one immediately.
They're really good. Yeah, I would just, for me, the issues are with pacing. I think they needed to explain some things a little more, or like make you care about certain characters a little more than they did. But otherwise, I loved it.
Yay. Okay, until next time, we'll see you in the horror section.